Okay, so I was just going to set this up for Crimson so that he has opportunity to see some of the basic gear setups and some of the things that I've seen people do as they start the game, and I've done myself. I played a year before I realized that I could, and I was just solo, by myself, before I realized that I could upgrade my Warframe to double my mod slots. So I thought I would show you where all of that stuff is, and I'll do a little demonstration of it. So you go to your arsenal. These are all of your weapons and whatnot. This is where you see your main weapons and gear. This is your pet, and we'll get to that in a minute. This is your gear wheel right here, and it allows you to store quite a few things on it that you're going to need in the open worlds. And then this, when you get there, is going to be your archwing, your arch gun, your K drive, that's a scooter, your necromech when you unlock that, and its weaponry. So we're going to go back. I just made this gun, so I already upgraded it, but I'm going to show you kind of what I did and why. So this would be like a basic weapon that you would get, right? It has nothing on it. This is called an Eximus mod, is going to be locked. But there's a couple of things I wanted to call your attention to right away. The first is under actions. There's a slot right here that says double your mod capacity. So you can either buy this for 20 plat, or there's other ways to get it, either through Nightwave mission, Nightwave stuff, or through trading or other things, right? You don't have to buy plat with cash either. Platinum is a tradable item, unlike Plex in Eve, right? Characters can trade platinum between each other. So if you really don't have any money at all to throw in the game, 20 plat's super cheap, but if you had no money at all, then you could just crack open relics and sell the prime pieces that you get out of there. And sometimes you can just sell relics, depending on the sort of time. There's like a 2-week cycle where people really, really want relics, and that's when the trader is coming into town. And so you can actually just sell the relics themselves without cracking them, just to get a little bit of platinum if you wanted. The other thing you can sell are mods, and those things can be found on Warframe Market. And I will post the link for that in our Warframe information page so people know where it is. But anyway, the first thing you want to do, if you have a weapon you really want, you'll want to use this catalyst. Now I'm going to do it here. I'm not sure I really want this thing, but I'm going to do it for demonstration purposes. We're going to buy the Orcan catalyst, and now we've gone from 15 to 32, right, on capacity. The other thing that you can unlock is the Exilus weapon adapter. Again, this is something you can farm in game, this adapter, but it's a little bit challenging. It's a little bit higher level. You don't necessarily need this slot, but it is kind of nice. So again, that's another option to sort of maximize your weapon. And the Eximus mods or Exilus mods can be found here, just like this. So these ones usually modify kind of the overall feel of the weapon. In this case, so again, just because it's demonstration, I'm going to unlock it. The other thing I wanted to point out here is these little symbols here are polarization symbols. So you want to find matching symbols to that. So here for this gun, I'm going to put suppress here because this is a silent character. She's stealth, and I don't want people to hear me when I shoot my gun or have it break my stealth. So if I want to stay cloaked while I shoot my gun, I put suppress here. I've modded it all the way up by using the mod panel. I selected that and then selected fusion and fused it all the way up so that it gives me 100% silence. So anyway, that's kind of the basic beginning of what you're looking at. This is the type of weapon damage it does. So this one has innate radiation damage. You can also combine different damage types here in the mods, and it will affect the radiation damage. For example, I'm going to put cold here, and now you can see it's added cold. It had none before, now it's added cold. If I put, let's say, pathogen rounds, which is toxin, next to the cold, it changes. So now it no longer has cold, but it's merged these two together to create viral, which is really an interesting feature of this game. Now you can also drop more. So now I've got viral and electricity, but if I trade those two, it changed. See, so where you have them positioned changes things. So now I have toxin, radiation, and magnetic. So I thought that I really wanted to show people this is something that, again, it took me probably a year to figure out because I didn't Google anything. I just kind of fumbled through stuff. But yeah, and also so many of our Get folks have gone through and figured this out. And then said, "Oh, Mama, you can do this." So, so there you go. We're benefiting from everybody's stuff. So then, again, when you see how I dropped pathogen round, what it does when you do that is, if you look, so pathogen round costs 11 normally. If I drop it here, it drops it down to 6. Now it's always going to round up. So if it had cost me 12 and I dropped it there, it would still be 6. So it's going to half it, but round up. So if it's like 5.5, it's going to cost you 6. This saves you your overall points and allows you to maximize your gun. There's one other thing you can do, which is very, very important. You would go, again, back to actions. So, and then there's polarization. So what this does is it allows you to use formas, which you'll get blueprints for, you're going to get drops for, you're going to get mission rewards. This is where you use the formas. So the formas, you would click this if it was a maximum rank weapon, and you would select one of these unpolarized areas or a polarized one. And polarization, again, it means this little symbol here matching this little symbol here. What you would do is you would select one of these, and then you would polarize it to something you wanted. So let's say I know I want to keep Ice Storm on here. Then what I might do is I might polarize this slot to be this symbol, this sort of slishy symbol here. And what I've found is when you do that, or what happens is it maximizes, again, your overall capacity. But you can't do it until your weapon is level 30 maximum. And so when you do it, it also resets your weapon back to 0. Not a big deal if you're playing with a team, because you can just power level it up in a mission or two back to 30. But if you're not playing with a team and you're solo and you're just starting out, first I can only encourage you to find a little bit of time to let us help you get your gear up to 30. But even if you can't, then you still may want to do this to sort of maximize your weapon. So this one's level 0. I actually like, there's all kinds of stuff here. So I like Hornet Strike is what I would want to do instead of Convulsion like this, because it gives me overall damage. You can see how it modified it. Also, again, you can see how it dropped down. Radiation and viral is now what we have. But it's overall increased my damage, and it's increased, and my magazine's increased. So this is a good little setup for just getting started. Now, the most important thing that you need to know is you can do all of those same things to your Warframe. So this is my Avara, and you can see under Actions, I've already installed the Catalyst. I've already used a bunch of formas on here. You can see I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 polarized slots. I could do a lot more. Typically, a lot of people will have 6 to 7 of these polarized, if not more, depending on their build. But it gives you a whole lot to work with. So now I've got 74 capacity up here, which gives me uh, a lot of stuff I can do with my character and make her a little more powerful. Let's see. I'm not going to show you that. Well, yeah, okay, I will show you. So this is a Kuva weapon. It's got, I've polarized a lot of things in it because unlike any other weapon, the Kuvas can go up to rank 40. But don't worry about that. It'll be a while. And if you have questions, I'll do another thing on that. But again, I have Hush here, so it won't damage my ability to stay cloaked while I use it. But what I wanted to show you was this. So a lot of people, when they're just starting out, are using what's called, you'll see cracks in it. That's called flawed, a flawed mod. Now you can see mine's been upgraded, my flawed one, because I used this for quite some time when I was just starting out. But the flawed ones are always significantly worse than the regular ones. So one of the favors that you can do yourself is to check and make sure that your flawed weapon, or that your flawed stuff is removed and upgraded as you get the better stuff. So here's the actual one. It's got 5 pips instead of 3 that you can upgrade it. It's 30% reload speed. And this one at maximum is only a 12 reload speed. So again, it's still just as expensive, but it doesn't give you the right benefit. So you always want to go back and check through your stuff. It's okay to use a flawed one if that's all you have and you really need it, but switch as soon as you can to a not flawed one as soon as you get that. And again, I can only stress to you, let me show you, because sometimes people feel like they might be a burden or something, and I don't want them to feel that way. Like, I have 194 calculated redirections, right? Or 239 ruptures, or 268 reaches, right? So we get a lot, and these are the rare mods. We get a lot of this stuff. Like, we play a lot. So there's, and we do a lot of like grinding and power leveling and all that stuff. So there's things that if you need it and you don't have it, or you're using a flawed version, I would like for you to tell me if you're in get, because then I can find what you need and just get you the better mods. It's really easy. It costs nothing to trade. It's really easy to do that through the clan dojo. So like, I got thousands and thousands and thousands of mods, and that's just me. It doesn't include Diesel and so many others who are willing to help. So I wanted to show you that. One thing you can do is you can take mods, you can go up to 4, and you can transmute them into something else, or sell them for credits, or dissolve them for endo. Which is what I normally do every so often. It's funny because I still have 268 of these after I've dissolved tons, thousands and thousands for endo. But if you transmute them, they're not, so I've got 4 assault modes here, I've transmuted them, and now it's given me a reach. And usually it gives you a slightly rarer mod, but it's kind of a crapshoot. Obviously, I have a lot of reaches too, so I don't really need that. But you can do that if you're really looking for another mod. You're just getting started. There's something you want to do. You can do that, merge and transmute. So that's another option for you. Let's see here. The
All
other
mods
thing.
accounted for, operator. I have not taken any.
The other thing I wanted to show you really quick, which again, people don't always realize that this is there. This is your melee weapon. Your melee weapon has a stance. It is so important to use a stance, and here's why. That 10 in the stance, so I put a polarized stance in there. it makes your movement more fluid for the attacking. But the other thing it does is it it gives you more mod capacity. So the 10 that you see here, in unlike any other polarized slot, the 10 up here is giving me back that. So it actually gives you more actual capacity for your weapon. So all I can do is suggest that people use the stances when you can. Um, uh, that's a Riven mod. Again, kind of not end game, but kind of halfway through your game, you'll start getting Riven pieces and they'll start talking about it. And when you do, you find the right one for your weapon and off you go. Again, so here's a pressure point, a flawed one. So the flawed pressure point at maximum it costs 7 and it does 80 melee damage. The unflawed one does 120 melee damage. So again, really, really good thing to be using for folks. Let's see if I can. I've destroyed most of my flawed stuff. But yeah, so anyway, I just wanted to show that to people, like on your basic setup. This is kind of how these menus work, and you can see here, for example, I've set up my melee weapon to do blast and corrosive damage. So it's kind of it does its own blasting. It's also kind of a status weapon to begin with in terms of it applies status to things. It's one of the reasons I have this particular Riven mod. It gives me additional status chance. And then this amplifier that's on it, again, don't worry about that. That's later on down the road. But it gives you a 50% chance to deal 200% of my weapon damage within 6 meters. So on when a status effect occurs. So it creates an explosion around me of 200% of my weapon damage on hit. So really, really nice weapon. But again, you sort of have to set it up. When you look at this, you kind of want to get a sense of what you want to do with your weapon. And part of that is looking at the innate abilities of your weapon, the kind of attack damage and stuff you can do, the kind of weapon it is, the kind of strikes you can do, and then kind of start applying your mods to meet that. But again, so the takeaways, hopefully, I'm probably forgetting stuff. I should probably write things down, but I just did this one out of the blue as a test. But the takeaways really are you want to make sure that you've talked to us if you need mods. It's really easy to trade. It only takes a minute. And we can give you, whatever you need to get going on any of your weapons or any of the weapon types, or on your warframes. And then again, make sure you've checked if you're going to use that warframe for a long period of time. I cannot stress enough, if no other thing, for your warframe itself, to use the Orokin reactor, because that doubles the power of your warframe. And that's the thing that literally it took me a year to figure out. And I figured it out, I remember, and I came back and I was like, oh my gosh, guys, I feel like an idiot, but that's what this button does. And everyone was like, oh my gosh, because I had been playing this just by myself for, I don't know, about a year and a half, just doing little solo things. And so it completely changed my game, obviously. And I can just highly, highly recommend having that. So it gives you the ability to put all these big things ultimately on your warframe and just make it super, super powerful in terms of combat damage and effectiveness and all that stuff. So that's it. And if you have any other questions, let me know. I will post this and then the Warframe market in over in the our chat section, Warframe information. And then if you have any questions, let me know. But I'll also do another thing on trading. So if you're interested in the Warframe market, I can do a little tutorial for like how you initiate and do a trade. Because I know Randy got into a little bit of trouble trying to figure it out, and some dude got all pissed off at him, which is stupid. Another nice person walked him through it, but I'll just put together a little trade thing so people can see it. Anyway, thank you. Catch you later.